Let the record reflect that the time is now approximately 2 minutes past 10 o'clock on the evening of November 11th of 1992. We're present inside the 48th Precinct Bronx Homicide Detective Task Force Unit, the lineup room. When I say we are present, speaking of Detective Michael Serrano of the 45th Precinct Detective Squad, video technician Mark Jimenez of the Bronx District Attorney's Office, myself, my name is Greg Turkin, Turkin, I'm an Assistant District Attorney in Bronx County, and Mr. Raymond Childs. Mr. Childs, we're here to investigate a homicide which occurred on the evening of November 8th of 1992 into the early morning hours of November 9th of 1992 here in Bronx County.
Yeah, I'm glad I reached the Cocksuckers Anonymous Club. Hope you all know you suck fucking dick. I got a saying for you too, man. Save America, kill a fag. Anyway, you're all gonna die one way or the other. Talk to you later, fuckhead.
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Men committing indecent acts.
You need to know the truth about the perverted
Homosexuality
homosexual
is
and
wrong.
lesbian
It's immoral.
agenda and what it will mean
shouldn't
for
be
America
condoned.
if they succeed. in
Each
their
and every one of them. But you're destroying the American lifestyle. This is a family that God created.
from turning
We
out.
never had a queer rally before, and we're not queers. We don't want them in our town.
Would you like an American flag, sir? Let's go along. We've got, sir. You got it. Don't touch that. You got it. Well, all right, you do sometime.
God will burn this town down if it gets full of gays, full of queers. He'll burn it to the ground. And he's going to burn our nation if we don't straighten up.
There is a problem out there in the gay community with young men looking for you and attacking you. And they'll kill you if you're gay.
They'll kill you.
You guys make me sick. I see one of you guys around town. Watch out, man. I am pissed. You're gonna get it. You guys are fucking dead. You're dead. You're fucking dead. You cocksuckers.
In 1977, I was attacked by 4 teenage boys who were roaming the streets of San Francisco to harass gay men. I got away by throwing myself onto the hood of a passing car. These same boys then went around the corner and bludgeoned a priest who received massive head injuries. Since that night, I look over my shoulder whenever I hear footsteps or a car coming from behind. I'm not alone with these memories. Countless men have been verbally abused, physically assaulted, and killed because other men thought they were gay. For the past 2 decades, I've tried to understand these acts of violence. But whatever I did, I felt like the victim once again. And so last year, I decided to do what was most difficult: to actually meet the men whose contempt for homosexuals led them to kill people like me. I wanted to confront these murderers face to face, to sit with them and to see who they were. And I wanted to ask each one of them directly, why did you do it?
I don't know what the rest of the people that you're interviewing for this, did, or the circumstances behind their crime. And whether or not you'll get a complete and accurate answer out of them for that, I don't know. But a lot of the people that go out and actively seek someone to kill, I think in their own mind they've already justified what they're going to do before they do it. They feel that they have reason to do it to protect themselves, or to protect maybe some values that they hold, or morals that they have for themselves. They want to protect that, not have it influenced by this group. And in their own mind, they say, "Yeah, I'm justified in doing what I'm doing." like I said, I can't speak for everybody. I don't know every man's circumstances. I don't know why they do what they do. But that'd be one way that I'd have to look at it myself. You know, maybe this guy here, you know, thought he was doing something right. Like I said, I don't agree with just killing people, but I don't disagree with expressing your opinion. It's just the manner in which you do it. But.
Like when I was in like 8th grade, it was in science class, and I remember my science teacher, Miss Bloom, she picked a subject, you know, something you don't approve of and why. So I went to the librarian. She's a doctor. She sent me to the encyclopedia, you know, looked up homosexuality. I just pretty much just copied down a lot of stuff out of the encyclopedia about it, and then at the end of it on my summary, I just wrote down in, you know, my own words that I didn't approve of it. I didn't think it was right, and I didn't think that any good could come out of it. And, you know, pretty much, they was trying to sink into our heads then when we were kids that what's written in the Bible's right. Nothing else is, you know. Well, if you read it in the Bible, then you can believe it. So that's just really where it was coming from about church, you know. But that's just pretty much where I carried it from, you know. If I can read it in the Bible, I know it's right. I don't go to church so much here in prison, you know, because of homosexuals, you know. I can't stand going to church, and we're standing up for prayer, and we're praying to God to help us. You know, we're in trouble down here in prison, you know, we need help. And we're praying, and I can't stand to look up and see another man holding another man's hand. Shit, I don't know, I just don't. It just burns me up inside to think about it, you know. I can't see how it can happen. I don't see how a person could let it happen.
To be clear?
Yes, sir. I just don't see how it can happen. It just pisses me off.
I seen him looking at me, so I had walked, you know, down the aisle of where his car was, not to ask him anything or say anything, just to wonder why he stopped and looked at me. So I kept walking, and he shook his head, and I shook my head, and I had asked him, was he a cop or something? And he said no. He said, what's your name? I had told him a fake name at first because I wasn't really sure who he was. Then I told him a real name. Then he told me his name was Lou. And he asked me, did I want to go to a football game with the Giants and the Packers tomorrow? And I said, sure. Gave him my phone number, called me the next day.
When I was 7 years old, I was molested by a friend of the family's. And when I woke up, I was just like bleeding. He had my clothes off. As far as my rectum, you know, tore me apart. And I never felt the same after that. Inside, you know, sometimes I never felt like I was even a man anymore. I always heard it was supposed to be a boy and a girl, you know? And for a man to do something like that to me, I just didn't feel the same. That's why I said I would shy away from women, even though, I knew I've always been taught a man and a woman. I would shy away from women because I really, I didn't know if I would be able to satisfy him because I felt like he took parts of me that I couldn't give. And after that happened to me as a child, I couldn't stand for nobody to even play with me like, hey, you faggot, or anything. It really bothered me, I guess subconsciously I was feeling like I was a fag for him doing that to me or something, And I never could to this day I can't stand for someone to say, well, you're a faggot, or, playing any kind of like homosexual games, Yeah, suck this, or, I don't like that. I'd rather beat the shit out of him.
Do you remember that happening?
Yeah, a couple times. I've gotten in a couple fights with kids playing around, calling me a fag and this and that. Just playing, though. But, I mean, I would think about what happened, and I guess I was feeling like I was one because he did that to me.
I don't think a person just grows up bad, you know what I'm saying? You eventually gets that way from being around somebody that is like that. But yeah, when you live in a project area, you see wrong everywhere, you don't want to live like that forever, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, you want to do the right thing, and your mom always telling you, you know what I'm saying, go to school, get an education, learn, try to get away from this, you know what I'm saying? But deep down in your heart, you think, you know what I'm saying, and this ain't gonna work, you know what I'm saying, ain't gonna never get out of here, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, at first, I was like one of those statistics, little big glasses. Yeah, but I never did wear glasses, but, you know what I'm saying, I was a coward back then, you know what I'm saying? So I ran home from school, got chased and stuff like that until the point, you know what I'm saying, I got tired of my brothers beating up on me, and, you know what I'm saying, I had to fend for myself. And then I took it out on the bully. So when little did I know, I had a little bit more than the bully had. So, you know, I beat him up, and then, you know what I'm saying, everybody be around watching. They be like, oh, man, you see him? He beat him up, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yeah, okay, I got that rep now, you know what I'm saying, that reputation. I'm the bad guy. So, you know, I ain't got to worry about getting chased no more. Back then, you know, it was going thing, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, let's go over here and rob a homosexual, you know what I'm saying? You know, because, like you say, more or less, we had it embedded in our head that, you know, they're weak, you know what I'm saying? We had it embedded in our head that they were weak, you know what I'm saying? And we could take theirs, and, you know what I'm saying, and get away with it, and they wouldn't put up a fight and everything. So everybody got, you know what I'm saying, money and stuff like that, so it really wasn't for the money at this time. It was just more or less just to do it.
I wanted to go into politics. I know that sounds bad, but I knew a great deal about politics, and gays do not get elected in any significant number, and certainly not from an area like Minnesota. And the other thing was that I felt that the Bible was rather clear on this. Remember, I was in a religious family. I read the Bible. I knew it cover to cover. To me, there was no way around the fact that homosexuality was condemned. My dad, in particular, was vicious. He would say, well, I won't even repeat some of the things he would say about that particular group of people. And, it's hard. The news people, every year, they cover these kind of parade-type things. And I remember a couple of times when I was a little bit younger, when these first were coming out on the television, watching my dad become almost genocidal when it came to that particular group. He was just very, very vicious about it.
You talk to some people in some research papers to deal with this this conflict, and
Yeah.
some label it internalized homophobia. What do you think? I mean, is that a phrase you would?
Well, the problem with that term, homophobia, is that it means, literally, if you look at it, fear of homosexuals. My feelings about homosexuals were less fear and more hostility. I wouldn't say fear was what it was. I wouldn't call it homophobia. I would say it was something else.
What?
Well, loathing. Loathing of them. Now, including, to the extent that I was doing it, I was disgusted with myself. But,
But all along, while we was riding to Connecticut and supposed to be going to the Giant game, I had brought along a knife unknown to his knowledge because, I didn't really know him. I mean, if we go into the Giant game, let's go and have a good time and come back and build a little friendship, Then he had explained to me who he was up in his house in Connecticut. He told me he's a lawyer, so on and so on. He's married, but he's real discreet about his friends to his wife. I don't know why. So,
I had a focus. I knew where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. It gave me, I had direction in where I was going in the military and what I wanted to achieve. So it allowed me to set some goals and make something of myself. There's a lot of people that like a strong military. They want that tough training, realistic training, and to introduce a minority group such as the homosexuals into that, it kind of takes away from what the military should be in some people's mind. If you're introducing a minority group that's frowned upon and looked upon as being weak, and your commander's saying it's fine for them to be here, the guy's gonna say, well, shit, I guess our military isn't really, really as tough and bad as we thought it was, I don't believe there's anywhere in our Constitution that gives anybody the right to be accepted by anybody else. When the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, people automatically assumed that they had a right to many different things. Women, blacks, now carrying into gays. They have a right, they feel that they have a right to be accepted. Who do they need to accept them? They won't even let the guys in the barracks hang a flag in their room anymore. Be it an American flag, a rebel flag, whatnot. POW flag, they don't, you can't even show that. It's almost as bad as our public schools, no prayer, no mention of the word God or Jesus Christ. It's fine to cuss and have a teacher sitting there at his desk reading pornography. That's fine, but don't mention the Bible. Don't mention Christianity, don't make any reference to religion whatsoever, because that's discrimination. You're going to offend somebody in that class who may not be a Christian. All right? I don't think that's right. And the same goes for our military. You're going to tell these guys that they can't speak out against homosexuals or be punished by their commanders, you know, subjected to punishment. Everybody's wanting acceptance. It's a one world system, global unity. Well, at what cost? Our military going down the drain, our public schools going down the drain. It doesn't make sense.
Tell us how that one started, too. I mean, what got you guys going that evening?
I don't like homosexuals.
Can you hear him okay?
I'm sorry. You don't what? I do not like homosexuals. Okay. I've got a cousin that's a homosexual, and he raped me when I was 9 years old. I've got a friend that had a daughter that was raped by some homosexuals, got tied up. I've got a lot against them. I do not care for them. And a lot of times homosexuals are known for carrying quite a bit of money on them. So that's where it come in with hitting them. Kind of more or less like a vengeful type thing. I don't know. I guess what I got up to that night, the first time I done it, was just a pure shock.
Yeah, to a point, I kind of like the fear. I had a lot of fear instilled on me when I was a kid. I've known a lot of other kids that when they were abused by older people, that they had a lot of fear instilled on them. You think when an older man abducts either a small boy or a small girl and forces them to have sex, that child's not scared? You think they don't get a rush out of the fear they're putting into that kid? Well, if you're the type person that preys on small kids, I shove a .357 barrel down your throat and threaten to blow your ass off, you're going to show a little bit of fear. You're going to do exactly what I tell you. So some of the fear that I had instilled in on me and some that I'd seen instilled on other people, if I can throw that back on somebody, they're going to think twice about going back out there again, because the next person they meet might be shoving a shotgun down their throat. The next person they meet might actually pull the trigger. The homosexuals make themselves easy targets because the way they go out, they're basically out in different areas. It don't matter what city you go to, you can find them in the parks. You can find them in parks where the light's where it's not very bright because they don't want people to see what they're doing. All right, there's no cops around because they generally pick a spot where cops don't go to because the police will bust them for public indecency, what have you. But then you've got so many of them that because of their jobs or because of their family situation or what have you in the community, they can't let people know what they are. We actually, one of the robberies we did there in the Tyler area was done to a preacher. But because of his congregation, his wife, and a few other things, he couldn't go back and report that. He just had to take his loss as a loss. But he's a preacher in a church, going out to a gay hangout, picking up on other homosexuals. From the time I was a small kid, I was self-centered, worried about Don, what can Don get for Don. I didn't have to go see a girlfriend to have sex. I could go see some of my male friends and get just as satisfied and not have to do anything. I didn't care who I had to take from, who I had to hurt, or what I had to do to get it. If it benefited me, if it pocketed me, if it made me a little bit better off than what I was, I did it. If you can walk into a 7-Eleven and rob a 7-Eleven for 15, 20 bucks, get your face on videotape, have somebody that's got to call the police. Or if you can go to a park, rob somebody that's out in the dark, come away with a hell of a lot more, take their car, get a nice system. Because of the fact they're a homosexual and they don't want people to know it, they're not going to go report it to the police. Who are you going to go rob?
it was easy because, you know what I'm saying, we'd always wait until, you know, we'd have our eyes set on certain people, you know what I'm saying? So we'd wait, just wait until we know they finna go do something, and then, you know what I'm saying, wait a little while, play the waiting game. Okay, it's time. Go run through the trails, and surely enough, they taking care of their business, and we take care of ours, snatching clothes, and then you don't have to worry about them chasing you because they don't got no clothes or that. So you just snatch the pants and run off, you know what I'm saying? Easy said and done, you know what I'm saying? Burn off and go back to the house quick.
Like girls, you know, they would like ride along sometimes for, you know, like cheerleaders, you know, kick him in the head or something like that, you know, stuff like that. You know, it was just, we never really done it for fun. The only time we ever done it is if we needed some money. You know, we figured like this: if there's a homosexual out there, he's having sex for money, we take that money from him. He can't tell the police about it. What can he do?
Why can't you tell the police?
Because he's breaking the law himself. Like if they go to the police, you know, and they say, well, we got robbed. You know, well, where'd you get robbed at? You know, they're going through the paperwork and everything. Oh, we were down in Bull Park. They don't, you know, to me, not too many people in the world care about a homosexual. And the police are the same way. Police ain't gonna do nothing in Little Rock to help them. I know. I know this. I know police officers, you know. They just ain't gonna, they ain't interested.
I seen them with, you know, some packages, some lunches or whatever you want to call it, food. So I knew they got some food, they got some money. So, okay, we're going to get them. So everybody, okay, we're going to do it. My homies, you know what I'm saying, they start beating up on them, you know what I'm saying. I'm more or less sitting back. I got the gun, so, you know, I don't have to do anything. You know, all I have to do is point the gun. Anyway, they start beating up on them, you know. And I mean, you know, not nice guy beating up. I mean, thrashing them, you know what I'm saying, busting them up real good. So they would call them fags. You know, you goddamn faggot, you know, not like that, but screw you, you know what I'm saying? You goddamn punk. Yes, and beating them up. So eventually, you know, this go on for a little while. I wouldn't say a little while, about 5 minutes, but when you know, high and stuff like that, it seemed like you're doing it forever. So eventually it went on for a little while. So, man, they come back, and, well, one of my companions came back and stood over there beside me and everything, and he told me, you know what I'm saying, shoot him, you know what I'm saying. More or less, yeah, that's exactly what he said, yeah, shoot him.
His face is bruised and swollen. A leg bone is shattered by a bullet, and his closest friend is dead. Hugh Calloway says they're victims of gay bashing. The attack happened early Saturday morning. Calloway says he and a friend bought a few hamburgers and went to Revershawn Park. They were attacked, robbed, and beaten by 3 men. And just as Calloway thought they would get away with their lives, he and his friend were told to stand up and drop their pants.
And I thought, well, this is so that we can't follow them when they leave. And then one of the older guys handed the pistol to one of the younger guys and said, go ahead, shoot him.
How's it feel to shoot somebody?
It's just like slapping somebody. If you got a conscience, more or less, to just, you know you done it. You just, you know, don't think about it. But if you just don't think about it, just like somebody standing over there and I'm like, this guy tell me, hey, man, I bet you can't shoot him. You know, I bet I could, you know what I'm saying? Okay, shoot him then. You know, you shoot. You more or less think about you killing somebody or something like that. You just shot him, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's not like, you know, you be thinking like, oh, if I shoot him, he gonna die. Or, you know, you just do it. It's just like on impulse, you know what I'm saying? It's like taking a drug or something. You do it because more or less you want to see what's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about the person you killed. Do you know his name? And who he was? What do you know?
Nothing. I know nothing of him.
His name was Han Nguyen. He was an immigrant from Vietnam.
Yeah.
He came here to escape the war.
Yeah. Came to escape the war and got killed by the nonsense. Yeah. Boy, it's hard for me to, you know what I'm saying, this is the only thing that hurts me, you know what I'm saying. My conscience, you know, my conscience will let me understand, you know what I'm saying, day in, day out. Every time I think of it, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I killed the person, you know what I'm saying. I killed him, you know what I'm saying. The bullet that I fired killed him. It was my will to kill him, but the bullet that I fired killed him. I can't change that. But I was willing to let him know, you know, I really didn't mean to take this person's life. You know what I'm saying? No. I don't care what image they want me to portray or they see me as. You know, I'm not God. I'm not here to take people's life or give people life. I did what I did. I can't change that. It was wrong. Yeah, it was wrong. But I can't dwell on it. I gotta let it go.
And we went in the room, drunk some of my beer.
What kind of beer was that?
Heineken. I drank some of my beer. He turned to the X-rated station, and I had mentioned that I didn't want to watch that, you know. I didn't want to watch it. So I turned the channel, and he started, you know, he grabbed my penis, and I told him no. You know.
Well, how did he through your clothes, or did he have already taken off your clothes? Did you take off your clothes in the room?
He didn't take off my clothes. You know, he grabbed it as if you grabbing it to get it erect. He grabbed it in that sense.
Through your pants?
Through my pants.
All right.
So he grabbed my penis, and I had told him no. So I pushed him back. He grabbed it again, and I said, no, you know, I'm not like that. You know, I didn't know he was like, you know, gay, because he never made a move or nothing until we got to this hotel. So he made his move. I told him no twice. Then I pushed him.
This is about as senseless a killing as you'd ever find. Absolutely no provocation whatsoever on the part of Nicholas West. What Nicholas West did to become executed was he went to a park, Bergfeld Park, and Mr. Aldridge, Mr. Dunn, and Mr. McMillan thought he was homosexual.
On the trip out there, like I say, I don't know what happened inside the car, but they scared the boy real bad. Then once we got out there, I was about half aggravated and pissed off anyways, and I don't remember exactly what it was. One incident happened to do with some money. He said something, he pissed me off, I slapped him with the gun. Before all was said and done, Henry said he wanted to fight him. Henry fights the boy don't want to fight Henry, so Henry picks up a gun, starts shooting him. It just went from one extreme to another. Everything just got out of hand that night. I wished instead of stopping and letting him pick me up, I just did not. I kept right on walking and went home that night. it was a bad night for me anyways.
With the playing of a videotape, the prosecution hoped to make a clearer picture for the jury why Aldridge singled West out.
I do not like homosexuals. Okay. I've got a cousin that's a homosexual, and he raped me when I was 9 years old. I knew a lot of guys coming up making passes at me, and I'm like, I got to the point I wanted to carry me a gun down there and shoot them when they come up and make passes at me. My girlfriend always thought it was cute.
My crime came out to what it was because I knew how the police felt about homosexuals back in Tyler. To turn around and tell them I hated homosexuals and that certain things were done because of this, it was supposed to help me out. But because of the new hate crime statutes, it backfired on me. And they says, well, this is what could happen, and even if it wasn't capital murder, it could be upgraded to capital murder because of the hate crime, and it raises it a statute. I'm like, what hate crime? In other words, if I'd have known about the new hate crime statutes, I'd have probably never said any of that. They've got my name all up in the legislature trying to push new hate crime statutes and bills and everything else. So maybe something good came out of it after all. They say you can find a little bit of good in everything. If I beat the death penalty part of it, they can still hang me with the capital murder, stick me in prison for the rest of my life. I'd rather them take me over there and shoot me in the head first. My life's been fucked up since I was a small kid. I've wanted to die several times since I was a small kid. So right now, basically, it's a blessing. If I get off death row, great. If I don't, they're only doing me a favor. You have a lot of people that are scared of death. I'm not scared of death. If there's nothing after you die, I'm not going to know it because I'm dead. If there is an afterlife, it's got to be a hell of a lot better than this place.
So just for clarity, how would you describe the phrase homosexual panic, which was your defense? And how would you describe that to people who don't know what that means, in your instance?
I really wouldn't know how to explain it because I don't know if it was a homosexual panic or if it was just fear for my life or, because, like I said, we was really drunk, really drunk. And he had just got taught. We were talking about Vietnam and cutting people up and everything. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. Because he just grabbed me, When he grabbed my testicles, I thought back as a kid, what happened. I mean, I blacked out for a split second. I remember struggling with him. I remember getting the knife in and I just stabbed. It's like this rage. When he did that, it's like this rage just came from nowhere, and I was in fear, I had fear of getting hurt, getting raped. I really wasn't in fear of getting cut. It really didn't, overwhelm the part about getting raped, I was more in fear of him hurting me sexually than physically, I guess. That's when I just lost control of myself, The rage just came out and I killed him.
negative stereotype of a gay person is a child molester.
No, I don't think all gay people are child molesters. As a matter of fact, I don't think gay people are child molesters. I think a child molestation is a sickness. I think it's someone that has to feel, stronger, and they pick on the weak, and take from the weak.
And in terms of your personal case, how does that profile fit to you? What happened to you?
It's just so strange, how this happened. That happened to me as a child, and when I get older, and that happens, and my whole life is gone now because of that, basically.
What happened then?
Out of anger and, the thought of me even getting touched by a man, it made me furious, I got furious. And
did you stab him again when he was on the ground?
When he was on the ground, yes.
And how many times did you stab him after he was already on the ground?
Well, it was a multiple of 5 times. I don't count the stab wounds. If you're gonna do something, you're not gonna count how many times you do it. You're just gonna do what you have to do to protect yourself.
Where did you stab him?
Well, the first time I stabbed him, I remember stabbing him in his neck. Then after that, I think I stabbed him forward, and he fell sideways, and I hit him in his back. I stabbed him in his back. And then after that, he was just laying there, but he was still talking. And then my mind just clicked again.
I believe I was a very confused person. But I wasn't exactly black or white. I'm half, and I don't belong specifically to the black community or the white community. I'm not, I have gay preferences, but I don't really embrace the gay community, and I'm religiously hostile to them. There's a lot of contradictions there, and I think that those contradictions probably combined to help that issue along. But, I was fully aware, as I did every little thing there, and
CCN number is 9108-209. I'm at East River Road, Parkway, and Cecil Avenue Southeast on a homicide shooting.
I began then going down to the areas in Minneapolis which would be considered the places where these types of activities would occur, homosexual activities. If I did it in a secretive way, if I would go to these places anonymously, not telling people who I was, etc., that I could both pursue that lifestyle to some extent, plus maintain my political possibilities in the future. It was schizophrenic almost how it was going. At the peak of my activity, I was going there every night from 10 to 4 in the morning. I was spending huge amounts of time in either the park or this beach area or in one of the bars, which I didn't like the bars because it's lit, everybody can see who you are. I even saw some people I knew in those places. I preferred the anonymity of the other environments. I have to admit, I was always very tense. People would comment, in fact, on that. They would say, relax, calm down. I would be very tense. But I continued to go to these places. I had a problem that started to crop up in these activities. As you know, I'm not white, but my interests were white predominantly. When you're raised in a white community, when you attend, do you have a towel? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Going inside the suspect's room prior to any searching. This is right next to the bathroom area, towards the rear of the house.
My experience was that whites were very polite and easy to deal with, but to get, in some sort of intimate situation, then the racial barriers became apparent. I was shocked. I thought, the gay community would be more open to this issue. But I found that racism was, if not, it was in some senses even more poignant, and especially from a group that has been condemned historically. I was just appalled. There were some white people who preferred blacks, but even in those cases, they tended to prefer the truly ethnic black person. In other words, with the matter of speech, the things that we would associate with more ethnicity. And I do not have those. It's very bad to be unsuccessful at something you already hate. I don't know if you understand that. When you don't like a group or you don't like a certain behavior, and then you still, because of whatever nature or whatever, you gravitate towards that, and you're unsuccessful, then you're unsuccessful at something you hate. I think that I was disgusted with what I was doing, these activities that I was engaging in. I was disgusted that it was out there readily available to me to do. And quite frankly, and this I did consciously think a couple times, I just thought to myself, if I shut these places down, my temptation to do that would be less. And I convinced myself on a couple of occasions when I would be thinking about it, I would think to myself, I'm actually helping here. This is a constructive, moral thing to be doing. And I certainly didn't just come up with that idea. I watch the 700 Club sometimes, which Pat Robertson, they're constantly talking about gays.
But when you see the rise of blatant open homosexuality and lesbianism, what you also know is that God has given a society up. That's what Paul said. This is a very, very serious thing, and the only people standing in the way of this are those who believe the Bible.
The victim was Joel Larson, a 21-year-old man who had just moved to Minneapolis from Des Moines in January. He collapsed and died at an intersection across from the park shortly after witnesses heard several gunshots and saw him screaming and running as fast as he could. This park has become notorious as a late-night spot for cruising, particularly among gay men. Even though last night's shooting doesn't appear related, block leaders still hope to reduce the numbers of people here at night. Police so far don't have any suspects, or even a good description of suspects, because once the shots were fired, everyone in the area scattered.
The crime I had committed, the Joel Larson incident, had shut the park down. And it had, or that's the only thing I could conceive that did that. And I'll be honest, I just simply said to myself, let's go to the river area and do the same thing. I forgot to mention I was in disguise at this point the whole time I was down in that beach area. It's dark. And I just went to they were together in this remote area, and I went there, and I went behind them as they were doing things together, and I went behind them, and I shot the one, and shot him twice. I shot him in the back and in the side. He fell down and stopped moving. And the other guy was having trouble moving because he had his pants down around his legs. He couldn't move, and he was speaking to me in a, he was saying, don't do this, stop, or whatever. And I shot him, and they were both, or the one was not moving, but the other guy was moving the whole time. And then I fled the scene at that point. What I did is I used 2 bullets on the one individual. He fell down and stopped moving, and then I shot the other person.
The murders of Larson and Chenoweth, just 2 weeks apart, was so terrifying some called it the work of a serial killer. The question everyone wanted answered was, who could hate so much? Police now think they know. They've arrested 24-year-old Jay Johnson.
The investigation was going nowhere until 2 weeks ago when news media outlets in the Twin Cities received this letter. It was written by something called the AIDS Commission. It gave details about the murders and said they were committed to send a message to the gay community. Police now say the AIDS Commission is Johnson himself.
Although police won't comment on a motive, the letter itself may suggest one. It says the murders slowed down the spread of AIDS to the general population. Police say in his journal, dated February 7th, he writes that he's tested positive for the AIDS virus. Quote, "My dream of committing homicide on a large scale and entering the ranks of the nation's most notorious serial killers. Ambition, which had grown as dormant as the AIDS virus now in my cells, were now reawakened. They had found a new sense of urgency." Johnson was on the student council in high school and went on to attend Bethel College, where his father is vice president of enrollment. And the family is said to be strongly religious. It may provide some insights, but few would have guessed last summer the suspect in the so-called gay murders might be gay himself.
He was so quiet and unsuspecting. I'm shocked. I can't believe it, but I can see maybe that there's some anger there, and it's always suspicious when there's somebody quiet like that you never know what kind of person lies behind that kind of personality. But I'm shaking. It's hard for me to believe it, because Jay being gay, or suspected of being gay, to kill somebody like that who is gay, I just can't understand that. You'd think he'd want to be with the gay community.
There's no question that my life would have been a lot easier if I wasn't sneaking out doing these things, if I wasn't so afraid to get to know people in the community, because then people would find out who I was, and the shame of it. I truly believe in openness. I've heard people say, how they expose people as homosexuals and drag them out of the closet. I used to think that was a very bad thing, but I will be honest with you. I think I'm not advocating it, but I think sometimes people need to be dragged out into the public thing. Mentally, I'm just a lot healthier now because everybody knows. Every inmate in this prison, when they see me, unless they're brand new, knows about some of these issues, especially my health issue, which is the most well discussed. And But I truly believe, and I think it would be a good start to open up there. And religion is a vicious thing.
And you say that as a religious person.
Yes, but I don't subscribe to some of those views as much anymore. I mean, there's two sides. There is a condemnation, but there's also a acceptance and a love of the person's vulnerability, that you can understand. You have to do both. I got the negative side. I never got the positive side. There's other people who go the other extreme. They say, it's all right, absolutely nothing wrong with it. I don't agree with that either. I believe it's in between. But I do think most of the church should focus on the love part instead of the negative part, because nobody's ever become healed or become a better person by being yelled at and condemned and told that they're going to die of AIDS or whatever because of it.
Okay, what I also have here is a Xerox copy of some other credit cards. I'm going to show those to the camera, and I just want the record to reflect that these, the originals of these have been vouched and taken into custody as evidence. It's one of the shirts you purchased with that credit card?
Yes.
And this is another Taquini. Sure, did you purchase that with the credit card?
Yes.
Sweatsuit top.
Yes.
And a pair of Nike sneakers.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and those were either purchased on Monday or on Tuesday at Foot Locker, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
one of the witnesses said that the defendant, myself, shouted something about, "I'll show you Clinton about letting gays in our army." They said I was making a statement generally and not at anyone in particular. Let's see. Another statement. At one point she heard the defendant say in a very angry or malicious way, "I want it so quiet in here I can hear a pin. I want to hear a pin drop." Defendant said, "Shut up, bitch, or I'll blow your head off." Seconds later, he appeared from around the corner and said, "I told you bitches to shut up." Then he shot one of the people in the restaurant. That's about it for the statements that they've got in here that I made. I don't remember exactly the time they said it was, but I'd called my mom and I was talking to her. She said she could tell that I was pretty much wasted at the time. I was talking to her got into a discussion about my dad. He committed suicide a couple years before that. She started crying. I started crying on the phone. Started talking about my little brother. Told her I wanted her to take him out and try and hook him up, get him with a woman, get him laid, Made a statement to her that I didn't want him turning into a faggot. The last thing I remember was putting the movie in the VCR and sitting back down on the couch. I'd rented a couple movies. One was Clint Eastwood movie, The Unforgiven. By the time it was over, I was probably about finished with a fifth of whiskey.
Hello? 911, may I help you? Yes, ma'am. This is Luigi's Restaurant on Pearson Church Road. We've got somebody outside blowing off a shotgun. A shotgun? Yes, ma'am. He just shot a gun through the window. Is anybody hurt? I don't think so.
122, go ahead. Shots are fired, Luigi's. Need backup.
City L13.
L13, go ahead.
Directing some of my units up here to Sycamore Dare Road to McPherson Church Road. I want this whole area shut down. Traffic diverted from around this location.
He came in as soon as we closed the door and locked it. He chased after the hostess's husband. He fired a shot, but the gun misfired.
Authorities say the Fort Bragg soldier was yelling he was upset that President Clinton was letting gays into the military as he randomly picked off people in the building.
He shot anybody that was moving. He didn't care who he was shooting. He was just, I guess he wanted to get his point across with blood. That's what he kept screaming. You're going to have my blood on your hands, he kept saying to everybody. Now you're going to have this. Clinton's going to pay. And he just kept shooting and shooting. I guess until he ran out of ammunition.
I think it's a messed up way of saying it, but I think I just needed to voice my opinion about it. I'm sorry that it happened under the circumstances it did, but I think maybe that's what I don't know, I guess I thought that's what I was doing at the time. I laid awake night after night trying to put some sense into what I'd done and why I did it, and try to figure out, all the factors that may have went into what I'd done and caused me to blank like that. I said, I told the victims in court when I was in in trial. If there's anything I could do to change what happened, I would. You know, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You know, as many times I've laid in my cell and just wished that, you know, I should have run off the road and hit a tree and killed myself or something. At least it would be one person dead and it would be my own fault instead of 4 people for no reason at all. I wish I would have done a lot of things. Hindsight's 20/20. The smallest thing that I would have done different could have changed the whole outcome of that whole time frame there. I can't give them a reason why it happened. I can.
What were you saying then? And this is kind of a different kind of angle because you know I'm focusing on my film now. Is that for all these gay and lesbian people out there who looked at this case as something fearful for obvious reasons, what would you say to them?
I've never thought about that. Yeah. I'm not going to apologize for my views that I hold towards gays or homosexuals, but to say that, you know, they took that strong of a losing my words here. That strong offense to what I done and thought it was directed mainly towards them. I don't think that it was. I don't think that I went in with the intention of just singling out any certain group of people, be it black, white, male, female, gay, or straight. I was just angry at the world, I guess, at the time. I don't know. You know, I was just taking out aggression and hatred on whoever was there. You know, I don't know why, but I don't know. You know.
Convicted killer Kenneth French trembled slightly and took a deep breath before he said his last words to the jury that will decide his fate.
If there's something I could say, change this, I would. If there's anything I could do, I would do it. I would have done it already. The only other thing I know to do is accept the punishment given by this court and pray you may feel some justice has been done. My last prayer to you is that God strengthens all of us to help us through this, and that he blesses each of us and each of you daily. I'm really sorry. Thank you.
Little Rock police are looking for 3 suspects in an early morning murder. It happened about 2 o'clock this morning at 603 Cedar Street. Police say 23-year-old Chris Miller was stabbed to death and 26-year-old Joe Fredericks was cut and beaten. He was treated and released at a local hospital. Police say the house had been wrecked.
He reached over and rubbed Bobby on his leg. I guess Bobby didn't like it, you know. We started fighting. It just got more intense as the fight went on.
And when did you join in?
Oh, well, it was automatic, you know. We're a tight unit. I'm not going to let anybody get out on any of my friends.
Did you know what was going on?
No, not at first. Bobby, he kind of jumped to his feet. He said, "Motherfucker, I'm tired of you hitting up on me like that right there." And I thought, man, what the fuck? And he hit this one dude, and I said, "Man, what's up?" He said, "Man, these are motherfucking fags," like that right there. And we got to fighting and stuff, and dude backed up in this corner with a knife, you know, and he said, "I'm HIV positive," like that right there, you know. And we're like, well, what the fuck, you know, what are you doing? Trying to, you know, spread AIDS or what? It just pissed us off more. happens so fast, you know, stuff happens so fast in a situation like that. You know, it probably really didn't, I really probably, you know, shouldn't have done it. But if a man ever hits his hands on me again, that's just where I'm gonna have to take it. This guy, you know, he was trying to make a homosexual advancement at my best friend. He's dead because of it. And this stuff, you know, it's just, you know, life's just one big opinion. What you make of the opinion to me. And I don't have any opinion whatsoever for homosexuals except they ought to all be taken care of. You know, the guy, he was like Miss Gay Arkansas, you know, 1991 and 92, you know, whatever in the hell that is. To me, that's plumb, that's like I don't know what that's like. That's like crazy. How can somebody be proud, you know, that they're a dick sucker? I don't understand that. I don't understand how a person can say, I sleep with that guy right there and I love him, I'm proud of it. That don't make no sense to me.
You think you should have been sentenced at all for murdering a homosexual?
I was guilty. I never denied that.
But deep inside you? I mean, I know what the law is.
I wouldn't lose no sleep over it. I mean, I wouldn't lose no sleep over it if I hadn't been found guilty. I ain't never really thought a whole lot about it, you know. By the time we got arrested for it, to tell you the truth, I really had almost forgot about it. It wasn't in my mind anymore. I thought about it, you know, a little bit after it happened, but I don't want to sound like it wasn't a big deal, you know, but it's just one less problem the world had to mess with.
You know, one of the, we're not sure what to call this film yet, you know, trying to figure out what a title would be. We were thinking about calling it Licensed to Kill. What does that mean to you?
You know, for me to sit here now and to even think about, you know what I'm saying, accepting something that, for me, is horrendous, you know what I'm saying? You don't have a license to kill. Nobody has a license to kill, you know what I'm saying? You can't even condone killing. You see it on the TV every day, you know what I'm saying? He done bombed this, he shot him for big tennis shoes. People running around bombing up people's houses and blowing up buildings and stuff like that. It's more or less, you know, it's there. You know, we know that it's killings out there, but nobody has a license. I don't even think police should kill people, you know what I'm saying? You can always stop a person without killing them, you know what I'm saying? Oh, but I had to. I don't think you did, you know what I'm saying? So, really, nobody has a license to kill anybody, you know what I'm saying? Even if you did, it's still wrong, you know what I'm saying? So, I wouldn't say that, you know what I'm saying? I don't like it.
But you had one.
Not anymore. I had a heart that pumped nitro. I had a heart that pumped nitro. I didn't care, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't. I just when I was growing up, you know what I'm saying, I wanted to be bad. I wanted to be bad. I didn't want to be no cowards and stuff like that. So I built myself up, pumped myself up to be bad, you know what I'm saying? But look where it's got me, you know what I'm saying? I'm bad, but I'm locked up. I'm doing time, a lot of time. Where that badness come in? You ain't nobody bad up in here. Ain't nobody bad up in here. Let them tell it. Let us tell it, for that matter. Yeah, we all bad in one way or the other.
You know, I knew something was wrong, showing me everything. I mean, he didn't really know me. You know, I thought the Giants game, that's it. Call you later. you know, maybe we stay closer instead of going so far. So, you know, we can have an understanding. But he didn't do that. He wasn't patient. He just rushed. And I rushed and taking action. But what could I say, you know? You gotta defend yourself, I guess.
Okay. The time is now approximately 10:37, and I'm going to suspend the interview unless there's anything else that you want to tell us.
No, I don't think so, not at the time, but I don't really know what to say. That's it.
Okay.
Faggots must die. I hate you guys. Oh my god. I hate you guys. It is unreal. You're all sick perverts. Oh my god. Get a dick and stick it in a pussy, not another butthole, you faggot. God put AIDS on this earth to get rid of you faggots. I hate you guys. Oh my god. You will all die someday of AIDS, and I'm just gonna laugh in your face. End of message. Hi, you little faggot. You all should go and just have your little fun with your little fag friends, your lesbian friends. Here, I got a little message for you from a friend of mine. She said to go get fucked up the ass. Please, do so, because you will fucking croak. Trust me, of AIDS. End of message. End of message.